Hey YouTube, Rick Marks here. I wanted to look at risk versus reckless. And I've touched on it previously, but I really wanted to look at, I guess, the fundamental differences. So in taking risk, we do it every day. Every activity we have in life is captured by an element of risk. Get out of bed, hop in the shower, eat breakfast cereal, like all of those carry an element of risk with them. Yep, we do them without thinking. And I guess it's looking at and working out the fears or why we hesitate at certain things because of a certain element of risk. Then on the other hand, you've got reckless, and that is where you don't care about any element of risk and you'll make the decision regardless of the risk factor. And that's not helpful or healthy either. That's just not taking any calculated risk, essentially. It's not thinking about the possible outcomes or the possible consequences. It's just doing whatever you want to do. Whereas what we need to be thinking about is that risk calculation and working out what element of this, like what is the equation, the consequences for the risk, the rewards for the risk. And I think more often than not, it's easier to work out those consequences than it is to see the rewards. Or we see the rewards, but we get blinded by the consequences. So it's the pros and cons, essentially. And I'm trying to think whilst talking and enlightening on this around like going into business. And there's pros and cons, there's consequences. You know, there's the rewards of being self-employed or the rewards of doing your own thing with your own vision, your own dream. And there's consequences of like you don't have the stability of a paycheck. You know, there's the consequences of the challenges you'll face. Maybe being unsure of how to face some of those consequences or those challenges. And that's where you're partnering or utilizing services around other businesses that are there to provide coaching that can help you to reduce those elements, I guess, and make it so that there's always still going to be the risk there. There's still always going to be the challenge, but they can help with doing the lifting. And I guess this is sort of like in the gym, you might be lifting weights on a bench and you've got somebody spotting you, and it's sort of like them giving you, say, 10% help with the lifting of the load, just to help you get going with the momentum. And it's sort of the same when you're looking at, well, in particular my coaching. That's how I do it. I'm not just here to give you guys do this, do that commands. I'm here to work with you, work on it with you. And I know there are a lot out there who will just give you a list of go and do all this stuff and come back, or you know, they're not very engaged and very in the element with you. Whereas, look, in life, you're only as strong as the weakest link, and I'm sure you probably heard that before, but I definitely know that when we all look at where we want to be in 10 years and then work back from there, how you're going to get there, it's so much easier to stay the path that you're already on. But if you're not happy with the path you're on and the output, then why do we continue day after day? Like, if we couldn't have started it yesterday because it's come and gone, now is the best. So capture it, jump on it, and drive it. Everything's going to have risk, and I think more often than not we just get bogged down in risk analysis. And off the man's Mantastic, he talks about, you know, we're always at a fork, but the problem is people get stuck in that and they ponder, do I go this way or do I go that way? Should I go into business, yes or no? What if? He said, take a path, jump in it, start heading down that road, and if it doesn't sort of work the way you thought, shortcut across and get over and back onto that tangent, or reassess. There might be a different left and right you could take. But all of us get stuck in that middle, and we get the concrete feet problem, and that's Tommy's words. We end up cemented in our location because we've stood there for too long, indecisive on should I go this way or that way. Commit to a path, give it a try. You're going to learn, and life is full of learning. That might have been a bad decision. Oh well, you now know. Maybe business isn't for me, or maybe I've got to think of a different industry, or maybe, analyze it and work it out. And I've talked about it time and time again. So often we just go, it didn't work. End of story. Move on. Analyze. Look, I don't know if I've shared it before. I had a car accident as a 17-year-old, and I've analyzed and broken down and worked out the whole situation, what I could have done better, what my decisions prior, I had the vehicle serviced, I had a mechanic put tyres on it, and I went, well, mechanic's not really the best person to put tyres, he just put tyres on it. He didn't actually think about what I needed tyre-wise to fit my needs. So there's a lot of things that came about from that. I learned so many different things from one incident. And I think that's the biggest problem, is a lot of people just go through life never learning. They don't necessarily make the same mistake again, but they never really analyze and work out what they can better do in another area. And I've talked about our skills cross industry. Nothing is just in the now, in this place, in this environment, it always can get transposed across into a different space. That same skill set, maybe different application, but if you've learned something, that's fantastic. Carry it with you. Add it to your belt of abilities and offerings, and utilize it when you're talking, like in interviews. I've had these setbacks, however, this is how I've risen from them. Be the phoenix, rise from the ashes. Don't just go, it didn't work, wipe that 12 months from my life, and I'll just go and do whatever instead. That's not learning, and life is full of learning. And I think even when I was growing up, every day we learn something new. That's the coined phrase. We really should be learning something new constantly, and numerous things through a day. And if you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not being a better you. I'm going to leave you on that note. Think about where you need to analyze risk, and where you're, like I say, don't be reckless, but also don't be a pessimist on the risk factor and going, I'm not going to do anything because it's too risky. Everything's going to have risk. Staying where you are right now in life has risk. So do you want to stay where you are? Do you want to still be the same you in 10 years time at that same point, indecisive on something? Or is this your opportunity to take a turn, take a step out, go outside your comfort zone and learn something new, meet some new people, and change things up? Because you might actually find that gives you more than just that one thing you were seeking. It gives you a variety of other elements as well. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, chuck some comments, and you'll see me tomorrow 9 AM. Bye for now.